Hi everyone, this is Daryl and welcome back to Book Odyssey. Today I'm going to be looking at 5 must-read science fiction books in the subgenre of cyberpunk. So I'm not going to go into what cyberpunk is in this video because firstly, I think most people are aware of cyberpunk as a subgenre. If you're not, you can watch my Explaining Cyberpunk in 4 minutes video, which I'll leave a link to here. So let's dive into the first book I have for you guys, which, if you watch my videos regularly, will probably surprise you to the amount of zero, is Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Empathy evidently existed only within the human community, whereas intelligence to some degree could be found throughout every phylum and order, including the arachnida. An android doesn't care what happens to another android. That's one of the indications we look for. Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, or DEDOS for the purposes of saving time by Philip K. Dick, or PKD for the same reasons, takes place in a post-apocalyptic San Francisco after a nuclear war in the year 1992. This 1968 novel was the basis for the film Blade Runner and explores themes around the dangers of advanced technology where androids are indistinguishable from humans and mass extinction has led to artificial animals. In the future, androids have invaded Earth from space colonies and live indistinguishable among humans. The only way to tell who is an android is by taking the Voight-Kampff test. The story follows Rick Deckard, a bounty hunter for the San Francisco Police Department, as he is assigned to retire, aka kill, 6 androids of the new and highly intelligent Nexus 6 model, which have recently escaped from Mars and travelled to Earth. These androids are made of organic matter so similar to a human's that physically, only a bone marrow analysis can independently prove the difference, making them difficult to detect. Deckard hopes to earn enough bounty money on the job to buy a live animal to replace his lone electric sheep. DEDOS deals with both environmental destruction, technological control, and was arguably among the first sci-fi novels to be published that could be called cyberpunk, although at the time the term didn't even exist. Through DEDOS, PKD openly questions how technology will change what it means to be human and also the very essence of empathy. There's a lot to this book that isn't covered in the film Blade Runner, so be prepared for it to almost feel like a completely different entity in itself. The next book I have for you guys is Neuromancer by William Gibson. Cyberspace. A consensual hallucination experienced daily by billions of legitimate operators in every nation, by children being taught mathematical concepts, a graphic representation of data abstracted from banks of every computer in the human system, unthinkable complexity, lines of light ranged in the non-space of the mind, clusters and constellations of data, like city lights, receding. Neuromancer is a 1984 science fiction novel by American-Canadian writer William Gibson. It is one of the best known works in the cyberpunk subgenre and is the first in the Sprawl trilogy. Set in the future, the novel follows Henry Case, a washed-up computer hacker who is hired for one last job. Case was the sharpest data thief in the business until vengeful former employees crippled his nervous system, but now a new and very mysterious employer recruits him for a last chance run. With the aid of Molly, a mirror-eyed street samurai, Case embarks on an adventure to target an unthinkably powerful artificial intelligence orbiting Earth in the service of the sinister Tessia Ashpool business clan. The winner of the Hugo, Nebula and Philip K. Dick Awards, Neuromancer is arguably the first fully realised glimpse of humankind's digital future. While the concepts in Neuromancer are leaps and bounds ahead of its time, I find that as a piece of fiction it can be quite divisive and generally readers fall into those who can get on board with the quick-paced and often erratic narration style, and those who just can't. Either way, it's a must-read for anyone looking to add more cyber to their punk. So the next book on my list is Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson. We are all susceptible to the pull of viral ideas, like mass hysteria, or a tune that gets stuck in your head that you keep humming all day until you spread it to someone else. Jokes, urban legends, crackpot religions, Marxism. No matter how smart we get, there is always this deep irrational part that makes us potential hosts for self-replicating information. Published in 1992, Snow Crash is a science fiction novel by American writer Neal Stephenson. The backdrop to Snow Crash is a US government that has been sold off and privatized following a worldwide economic collapse. Los Angeles is no longer part of the United States since the federal government has ceded off most of its power and territories to private organizations and entrepreneurs. Mercenary armies compete for national defense contracts, while private security guards preserve the peace in sovereign, gated housing developments. The remnants of the US government maintains authority only in isolated compounds where they do tedious, busy work that is irrelevant to the society around them. The story follows hero protagonist. Yes, that is his name, and no, the antagonist is not called Villain McDoucheface. Hero in real life delivers pizza for Uncle Enzo's Cosa Nostra Pizza Incorporated. In the metaverse, a virtual reality construct populated by user-controlled avatars as well as system demons, Hero is a warrior prince, plunging headlong into the enigma of a new computer virus that's striking down hackers everywhere. He races along the neon-lit streets on a search and destroy mission for the shadowy virtual villain, threatening to bring about the Infocalypse. Snow Crash established Stephenson as a major science fiction writer of the 1990s, and it appeared in Time magazine's list of 100 all-time best English language novels written since 1923. You can see the direct influences of Snow Crash in more recent cyberpunk books such as Ready Player One, which is most certainly not on this list, just as you can see direct influences from Neuromancer in Snow Crash. There is no denying Snow Crash's influence on the cyberpunk subgenre. The next cyberpunk must-read on my list is Altered Carbon by Richard K. Morgan. You live that long, things start happening to you. You get too impressed with yourself. Ends up, you think you're God. Suddenly the little people, 30, maybe 40 years old, well, they don't really matter anymore. You've seen whole societies rise and fall, and you start to feel you're standing outside it all, and none of it really matters to you. And maybe you'll start snuffing those little people, just picking daisies, if they get under your feet. Altered Carbon is a cyberpunk science fiction novel from British science fiction author Richard K. Morgan, set 300 years in the future in what could be classed as a dystopian-esque interstellar society. In the world of Altered Carbon, human consciousness can be digitized using a cortical stack, reducing the body to sleeves that are interchangeable vessels for minds to be uploaded to. Humans have achieved virtual immortality. If their body dies, their cortical stack can be stored indefinitely. The stacks can also be downloaded into new sleeves after death. The story follows Takeshi Kovacs, the sole surviving soldier from a group of elite warriors whose mind was imprisoned for centuries before being brought back to life in a new sleeve. In Altered Carbon, billionaire businessman Lorenz Bancroft seeks out Kovacs to solve a murder, his own. A Kirkus review describes the book perfectly in one sentence. The body count is high, the gadgetry is pure genius, the sex scenes deliriously overwrought, and the worn cynicism thoroughly distasteful. A welcome return to cyberpunk's badass roots. Altered Carbon is one of my all-time favourite sci-fi books. It perfectly blends all the elements of classic cyberpunk into a hard-boiled detective novel that will leave you enthralled, traumatized, and thirsty for more. So the last cyberpunk I have for you guys is the manga Akira. In 1988, the Japanese government drops an atomic bomb on Tokyo after ESP experiments on children go awry. In 2019, 31 years after the new king of the city, a bike gang leader tries to save his friend from a secret government project. Akira is a science fiction manga series written and illustrated by Katsuhiro Otoma. Initially serialized in the pages of Weekly Young magazine from 1982 until 1990, the work was then collected into 6 volumes. Akira is set in Neo-Tokyo, built on the ashes of a Tokyo that was annihilated by a blast of unknown origin that triggered World War III. The lives of 2 streetwise teenage friends, Tetsuo and Kaneda, change forever when paranormal abilities begin to waken in Tetsuo, making him a target for a shadowy agency that will stop at nothing to prevent another catastrophe like the one that leveled Tokyo. At the core of the agency's motivation is a raw, all-consuming fear of an unthinkable, monstrous power known only as Akira. Katsuhiro Otomo's stunning science fiction masterpiece is considered by many to be the finest work of graphic fiction ever produced, and Otomo's brilliantly animated film version is regarded worldwide, including by me, as a classic. Considered by many as one of the most important manga of the 1980s, Akira has influenced countless works of science fiction, manga, anime, and beyond, with a vision of a sinister future set within a dark urban sprawl. So that is it for my 5 must-read cyberpunk books. I'd love to know what you think of my selection, and if you've already read these, in the comments. Also, if you've got any other cyberpunk suggestions that you think are must-reads. Don't forget to smash the like button if you enjoyed the video, and also subscribe if you haven't already for more videos from me on all things books, mostly sci-fi with some fantasy in there too. So until next time guys, happy reading.